Praise belongs to God, before whose oneness there is no before, unless the before is He. And after whose singleness there is no after, unless the after is He. He is, and there is not with Him any before or after, above or below, closeness or distance, how or where or when, time, moment or duration, manifest existence or place. And He is now as He has always been. He is one without oneness and single without singleness. He is not composed of name and named, that's name and form in the Vedantic tradition. He is not composed of name and named, for His name and His named is Him, and there is no name or named other than Him. He is the first without firstness, and the last without lastness. He is the apparent without appearance, and the hidden without hiddenness. I mean that He is the very existence of the letters, of the names, of the first and the last, the apparent and the hidden. There is no first or last, apparent or hidden, except Him. Understand this so as not to make the mistake of people who believe in incarnation. He is not in anything, and no thing is in Him, whether entering into Him or coming out of Him. It is in this way that you should know Him, and not through theoretical knowledge, reason, understanding, conjecture, nor with the senses, the external eye or interior sight or perception. No one sees Him except himself. No one reaches Him except himself. And no one knows Him except himself. He knows himself through himself, and he sees himself by means of himself alone. No one but He sees Him. His veil is His oneness, since nothing veils Him other than Him. His own being veils Him. His being is concealed by His oneness, without any condition. No one other than He sees Him. No sent prophet, perfect saint or angel or non-dual teacher brought close knows Him. His prophet is He. His messenger is He. His message is He. His word is He. He sent Himself from Himself to Himself. He sent Himself from Himself, through Himself, to His self. There is no intermediary or means other than Him. There is no difference between the sender, that which is sent, and the one to whom it is sent. The very existence of the prophetic message or the non-dual teaching is His existence. There is no other existence to anyone or anything who could pass away or have a name or a form. Because of this, the prophet, God bless him and give him peace, said, "Whosoever knows thyself knows their Lord." He also said, "I knew my Lord through my Lord." What the prophet pointed out by that is that you are not you, but you are Him, and there is no you. It is not that He enters into you, or that you enter into Him, or that He comes out of you, or that you come in out of Him. That does not mean that you have being, or you are qualified by this or that attribute. What is meant is that you never were, and never will be, whether through yourself, or through Him, or in Him, or with Him. You have neither ceased to be, nor are you existent. You have neither ceased to be, nor are you existent. You are Him, and He is you, without any of these imperfections. If you know your existence in this way, then you know God. And if not, then not. I've just opened it at random. Whosoever sees anything with God, whether coming out of him or within him, but dependent on him by virtue of his lordship, has made that thing an associate or an equal of God, even though that associate depends on him by virtue of his lordship. Whoever allows that there could be anything with God, anything other than God, such as a servant, whether subsisting by itself or through him, whether in a state of having passed away or the passing away of passing away, is far from breathing the scent of self-knowledge. Because whoever accepts that there could be any being other than him, yet subsisting through him and in him, then passing away in successive stages of passing away, and the passing away of passing away, which is polytheism upon polytheism. That is the admittance of numerous selves or being. Whosoever accepts that there could be anything or anyone other than him is a polytheist, one who believes in many gods or many beings, and that one does not know either God or themselves. And then Balyani is asked a question: what is the way to the knowledge of the self and the knowledge of God? That is, the knowledge of the servant and the knowledge of God. And Balyani replies, it consists in being aware that God is, and nothing is with him, and he is now as he has always been. And then it goes on, I see myself as other than God, and I do not see God as myself. And Balyani answers, the prophet meant by the word self your being and your essential reality, not the self which is called the blaming self or the lower self or the suffering self or the lonely self or the fearful self or the guilty self. By the self he was alluding to everything that is other than God, like when he said, O God, show me things as they are, indicating by things whatever is other than God. That is, make me know what is other than you, so that I may know what things really are, whether they are you or other than you, whether they are eternal and subsistent or newly happening and temporal. Then God showed him what is other than him as himself, without the existence of what is other than him. So he saw things as they are. That is, he saw them as the essence of God, who is exalted, without how or where. The word things applies to the self and to other things, because the existence of the self and the existence of other things are equal in terms of being things. When you know the things, you know yourself, and when you know yourself, you know the Lord. Because what you think is other than God is not other than God, but you do not know it. You see him, and you do not know that you see him. Everything passes away except his face, both inwardly and outwardly. This means that there is no existent thing or self but him. Nothing other than him has being. And therefore nothing has to pass away in order for his face to remain. There is nothing that exists that needs to pass away in order for his face to remain. There is nothing except his face. Do not think, therefore, that you need to pass away. This is talking to the separate self, the servant. Do not think that you, as a separate self or servant, need to pass away. Because if it were necessary for you to pass away or dissolve or disappear, that would mean that you are his veil. He would therefore be veiled by something other than himself. that would require something other than himself having power over him, which prevents him from being seen. That is an error and a misconception. As we have already said, his veil is nothing other than his oneness and his singularity. That is why the person who has reached the essential truth is allowed to say, "I am the truth," or "Glory to me." No one has truly reached him. They see that their self has never really been their own self. Not that it once was and has now passed away, but that it never existed in its own right to begin with. I'm elaborating a little. Because there is no self apart from his self, and there is no being except his being.